Who's friends? They all had reservations, so they bought tickets. I don't know where they're sitting. Will you ask him if my spot is open? Oh, it's too late. Forget it. I'll get to it. I'm from here.
Some years ago, never mind how long precisely, having little or no money in my purse, and nothing particular to interest me on shore, I thought I would sail about a little and see the watery part of the world.
It is the way I have of driving off the spleen and regulating the circulation.
Whenever I find myself growing grim about the mouth.
Whenever it is a damp, drizzly November in my soul.
Whenever I find myself involuntarily pausing before coffin warehouses and bringing up the rear of every funeral I meet.
And especially whenever my hypos get such an upper hand of me that it requires a strong moral principle to prevent me from deliberately stepping into the street and methodically knocking people's hats off,
Then I account it high time to get to sea as soon as I can.
Now, when I say I am in the habit of going to sea whenever I begin to grow hazy about the eyes and begin to be over-conscious of my lungs, I do not mean to have it inferred that I ever go as a passenger.
before to go as a passenger, you must needs have a purse.
And a purse is but a rag unless you have something in it.
Besides, passengers get seasick.
Grow quarrelsome.
Don't sleep of nights.
Do not enjoy themselves much as a general thing.
No, I never go as a passenger. Nor though I am something of a salt do I ever go as a commodore or a captain. I abandon the honor and distinction of such offices to those who like them. For my part, I abominate all respectable, honorable toils, trials, and tribulations of every kind whatsoever. It's quite as much as I can do to take care of myself.
No, when I go to sea, I go as a simple sailor, right before the mast.
Plumb down into the forecastle.
Aloft there at the royal masthead!
True, they rather order me about some, and make me jump from spar to spar.
Like a grasshopper leaping in a May meadow.
And at first, this sort of thing is unpleasant enough. It touches one's sense of honor, particularly if just previous to putting your hand into the tar pot, you've been lording it as a country schoolmaster, making the tallest boys stand in awe of you. The transition is a keen one, I assure you, from schoolmaster to sailor, and requires a strong decoction of Seneca and the Stoics to enable you to grin and bear it.
But wherefore it was that after having repeatedly smelt the sea as a merchant sailor, I should now take it into my head to go on a whaling voyage. This, the invisible police officer of the fates.
Who has the constant surveillance of me.
And secretly dogs me.
And influences me in some unaccountable way.
He can better answer than anyone else. And doubtless my going on this whaling voyage formed part of the grand program of Providence, which was drawn up a long time ago. It came in as a sort of brief interlude and solo between more extensive performances. I take it that this part of the bill must have run something like this.
Grand contested election for the presidency of the United States.
The story of my whaling voyage.
Bloody battle in Afghanistan.
Now, I cannot exactly tell why it was those stage managers, the Fates, had set me up for this shabby part of the whaling voyage, when others were set up as more magnificent parts in high tragedies, or short and easy parts in genteel comedies, or in jolly parts in farces. No, I cannot exactly tell why it was, though now as I recall all the circumstances, I think I can see a little into the springs and motives which, being cunningly presented to me under various disguises, induced me to setting about performing the part I did.
Chief among these motives was the overwhelming idea of the great whale himself. Such a portentous and mysterious monster roused all my curiosity. The great floodgates of the wonder world swung open, and in the wild conceits that swayed me to my purpose, two and two there floated into my inmost soul endless processions of the whale, and mid most of them all, one grand hooded phantom, like a snow hill in the air.
want of him?
Oh, I should let you know that the ship was named for a tribe of Massachusetts Indians.
Although they nearly unanimously preferred the title Native American.
Yes, as I said, it was a Native American tribe of Massachusetts Indians that came from Massachusetts.
And there they lived until, at the end of the 17th century, they were hunted to their extinction.
Massacred!
Like the buffalo.
Like,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Supposing it be the captain of the Pequod, what dost thou want of him?
I was thinking of shipping.
Thou art? What's that? I see thou art no Nantucketer. Ever been in a stove boat?
A stove? A what boat?
A stove boat. Sunk. Destroyed. Wrecked.
No, sir, I never have.
Dost know nothing at all about whaling, I dare say.
Nothing, sir, but I have no doubt I shall soon learn. I have been several voyages in the merchant service.
Merchant service be damned. Oh, talk not that lingo to me. Merchant service indeed. Oh, now I suppose you feel considerable proud of having served in those merchant ships. But Luke said, what makes thee want to go a-whaling?
Well,
I
want to know what whaling is, sir. I want to see the world.
want to know what whaling is. Have ye clapped eye on Captain Ahab?
Who is Captain Ahab, sir?
I thought so. Captain Ahab is the captain of this ship.
I am mistaken then. I thought I was speaking to the captain himself.
Thou art speaking to Captain Peleg. That's who you're speaking to, young man. It belongs to me to see the Pequod fitted out for the voyage and supplied with all her needs, including crew. But as I was going to say, if thou wantest to know what whaling is, as thou tellest ye do, I can put you in a way of finding out before you bind yourself to it past backing out. Clap eye on Captain Ahab, young man, and thou wilt find that he has only one leg.
What do you mean, sir? Was the other one lost by a whale?
Lost by a whale! Young man, come nearer to me. It was devoured, chewed up, crushed by the monstrousest parmacetti that ever tripped a boat.
Parmacetti, Captain Peleg is here speaking about the spermaceti, or sperm whale.
Oh, this whale, among the English of old, vaguely known as the trunk whale, the anvil-headed whale, and the Feister whale, is the present cachalot of the French and the potsfich of the Germans.
He is, without a doubt, the largest inhabitant of the globe, the most formidable of all whales to encounter, and by far the most valuable in commerce, he being the only creature on Earth from which that valuable substance, spermaceti, is obtained.
Spermaceti is called spermaceti because it's...
But let us understand each other. I have given thee a hint of what whaling is. Do you yet feel inclined for it?
I do, sir.
Very well. Now then, art thou the man to pitch a harpoon down a live whale's throat and then jump after it? Answer quick!
I am, sir, if it should be absolutely indispensable to do so.
Good again. Now then, you also want to go whaling in order to see the world. Was that not what you said? Well, then just step forward there and take a peep over the weather, pal. Gone. Well, what's the report? What do you see?
Not much. Nothing but water. Considerable horizon, though. And there's a squall coming up, I think.
Well, what dost thou then think of seeing the world? Do you wish to travel round Cape Horn to see any more of it? Can't you see the world where you stand?
Now, I was a little staggered, but go a-whaling I must.
And I would.
And the Pequod was as good a ship as any.
I thought the best.
And all this I now repeated to Peleg.
And seeing was so determined, he expressed his willingness to ship me.
Welcome aboard!
Oh, if I may ask, where might Captain Ahab be found?
And what dost thou want of Captain Ahab? It's all right enough, thou art shipped.
Yes, but I should like to see him.
I don't think thou wilt be able to at present. I don't know exactly what's the matter with him. He keeps close inside the house, a sort of sick. And yet he don't look so. In fact, he ain't sick, but no, he isn't well either. Anyhow, young man, he won't often see me, so I don't suppose he will thee. He's a queer man, Captain Ahab. So some think. Oh, but a good one. Oh, thou like him well enough. No fear. No fear. He's a grand, ungodly, godlike man, Captain Ahab. Doesn't speak much. But when he does speak, then you may well listen. Mark ye. Be forewarned, Ahab's above the common. Ahab's been in colleges as well as among the cannibals. Been used to deeper wonders than the waves. Fixed his fiery lance in mightier, stranger foes than whales. His lance, aye, the keenest and the surest out of all our isle. He ain't Captain Peleg, he's Ahab, boy. And Ahab of old, thou knowest, was a crowned king.
And a very vile one. When that wicked king was slain, did not the dogs lick his blood?
Look ye, lad. Never say that aboard the Pequod. Never say it anywhere. Captain Ahab did not name himself. 'Twas a foolish, ignorant whim of his crazy widowed mother. I know Captain Ahab well. I sailed with him as his mate years ago. I know what he is, a good man. But not a pious good man, but a swearing good man. Something like me. Only there's a good deal more of him. Well, I know that he was never very jolly. And I know that on the passage home last voyage, he was a little out of his mind for a spell. But 'twas the sharp shooting pains in his bleeding stump that brought that about, as anyone might see. I know, too, that ever since he lost his leg last voyage by that accursed whale, he's been a sort of moody, desperate moody, and savage sometimes. But that will all pass off. No fear. No fear. And once and for all, let me tell thee and assure thee, 'tis better to sail with a moody good captain than a laughing bad one. So goodbye to thee. And wrong not Captain Ahab because he happens to have a wicked name.
It needs scarcely be told with what feelings on the eve of a Nantucket voyage I regarded the fate of the whalemen who had gone before me. Yes, the same fate may be mine.
But somehow I grew merry again.
Delightful inducements to embark.
Fine chance for promotion, it seems.
Aye. A stove boat will make me an immortal by brevet.
Yes, there is death in this business of whaling.
A speechlessly quick, chaotic bundling of a man into eternity.
But what then?
Methinks we have hugely mistaken this matter of life and death.
Methinks that what they call my shadow here on earth is my true substance.
Methinks that in looking at things spiritual, we are too much like oysters, observing the sun through the water and thinking that thick water the thinnest of air.
Methinks my body is but the lees of my better being.
In fact, take my body who will.
Take it, I say!
It is not me.
And therefore,
3 cheers for Nantucket!
and come a stove boat and a stove body when they will.
For stave my soul.
Jove himself cannot.
What do you do when you see a whaleman?
Sing out for it.
Good. And what is it you do next?
Lower away and after him.
And what tune is it you pull to?
A dead whale or a stove boat?
Okay. Do you see this Spanish ounce of gold? It is a $16 piece, men. Whosoever of ye raises me a white-headed whale with a wrinkled brow and a crooked jaw, whosoever of ye raises me a white-headed whale with 3 holes punctured in his starboard fluke, lookee, whosoever of ye raises me that same white whale, he shall have this Spanish doubloon. It is a white whale, I say, a white whale. Skin your eyes for him. Look sharp for white water. If ye see but a bubble, sing out.
Captain Ahab, that white whale. Is he the same that some call Moby Dick?
Moby Dick. Do you know the white whale, then?
Just he fantail a little curious, sir, before he goes down.
And has he a curious spout, too, very bushy, even for a Parmacetti, and mighty quick, Captain Ahab?
And does he have a good many irons in his side, all twisted up like a corkscrew?
Aye. The harpoons lie all twisted and wrenched in him. And his spout is a big one, like a whole shock of wheat. And he fantails like a split jib in a squall. Death and devils, men, it is Moby Dick ye have seen. Moby Dick, Moby Dick!
Captain Ahab! I have heard of Moby Dick. Was it not Moby Dick that took off that leg?
Aye, Starbuck. Aye, my heart is all round. 'Twas Moby Dick that dismasted me. That made a poor pegging lubber of me forever and a day. Aye. Was that accursed white whale that razzied me, that brought me to this dead stump I stand on now. And aye, I'll chase him round Good Hope, and around the Horn, and around the Norway Maelstrom, and around Perdition's flames before I give him up. And that is what ye have shipped for, men. To chase that white whale on both sides of land and over all sides of earth until he spouts black blood and rolls spin out. What say ye, men? Will ye splice hands on it? I think ye do look brave.
Aye.
God bless you, men. God bless you. Mr. Stubb.
Aye, sir.
Go draw up the great measure of grog.
Aye, aye, Captain.
What is this long face for, Mr. Starbuck? Wilt thou not chase the white whale? Art thou not game for Moby Dick?
I am game for his crooked jaw. And for the jaws of death too, Captain Ahab, if it fairly comes in the way of the business we follow. But I came here to hunt whales, not my commander's vengeance. How many barrels will thy vengeance yield thee, even if thou gettest it? It will not fetch thee much in our Nantucket market.
Nantucket market! Hoot! Come a little closer, Starbuck. Thou requirest a little lower layer. If money's to be the measurer, man, then let me tell thee that my vengeance will fetch a great premium. Here!
Vengeance on a dumb brute that simply smote thee out of blindest instinct. Madness! To be enraged by a dumb thing, Captain Ahab, seems blasphemous.
Ah! Talk not to me of blasphemy! I'd strike the sun if it insulted me. For if the sun could do that, then I could do the other. Who's over me? Truth hath no confines. And the crewmen, look, are they not one and all with Ahab in this matter of the whale? Stand up amid the general hurricane, thy one-tossed sapling cannot, Starbuck. And what is it? Reckon it. 'Tis but to help strike a fin, nothing more. No great feat for Starbuck. The best lance out of all Nantucket? Surely he will not hang back when every foremast hand has clutched a whetstone. Speak. But speak. Aye. Thy silence, then, that voices thee. The measure, Mr. Stubb! The measure! Attend now, my braves. I have mustered ye round this capstan. And ye, mates, flank me with your lances, and ye, harpooneers, stand there with your irons. And ye, stout mariners, bring me in, that I may in some sort revive a noble custom of my fisherman fathers before me. Advance, ye mates! Cross your lances full before me. Now I touch the axis. I do appoint ye cupbearers to my three pagan kinsmen here, my valiant harpooneers. Cut the seizings and draw the poles, ye harpooneers. as chalices. Bestow them, ye who are now made parties to this indissoluble league. Drink, harpooneers, drink and swear, ye men that man the deathful whale boat's bow. Death to Moby Dick. May God hunt us all if we do not hunt Moby Dick to his death.
Death to Moby Dick!
Was not so hard a task. I thought to find one stubborn at the least.
But my one-cogged circle fits into all their various wheels, and they revolve. Or, if you will, like so many anthills of powder, they all stand before me, and I their match. Oh, hard, that to fire others the match itself must needs be wasting. But what I've dared, I've willed, and what I've willed, I'll do. They think me mad. Starbuck does, but I'm demoniac. I am madness maddened, that wild madness that's only calm to comprehend itself. The prophecy was that I should be dismembered, and I lost this leg. I now prophesy that I shall dismember my dismember. Now then, be the prophet and the fulfiller one. That's more than ye great gods ever were. I laugh and hoot at ye cricket players, ye pugilists, ye deaf Burkes and blinded Bendigos. I will not say as schoolboys do to bullies, take someone of your own size, don't pommel me. No! Ye've knocked me down and I am up again, but ye have run and hidden. Come forth from behind your cotton bags. I have no long gun to reach ye. Come! Ahab's compliments to ye. Come see if ye can swerve me. Swerve me. Ye cannot swerve me. The path to my fixed purpose is laid with iron rails, whereon my soul is grooved to run, over unsounded gorges, through the rifled hearts of mountains, under torrents' beds, unerringly I rush. Not an obstacle, not an angle to the iron way! Death to Moby Dick!
My soul is more than matched. She's overmanned. And by a madman! I think I see his impious end, but feel that I must help him to it. Why, Nilai, the ineffable thing has tied me to him. Tows me with a cable I have no knife to cut. Horrible old man. Who's over him? He cries. He would be a Democrat to all above. Look how he lords it over all below. Oh, I plainly see my miserable office to obey rebelling. And worse yet, to hate with touch of pity. For in his eyes I read some lurid woe would shrivel me up had I it. Yet is there hope? Time and tide flow wide. The hated whale hath the round, watery world to swim in, as the small goldfish hath its glassy globe. His heaven-insulting purpose God may wet aside. I would upheart were it not like lead. My whole clock's run down, my heart, the all-controlling weight. I have no key to lift again. Yet will I try to fight ye grim phantom futures. Stand by me, hold me, bind me, oh ye blessed influences.
Death to Moby Dick!
Take it. Clear my throat.
I've been thinking about it ever since. And that, ha, is the final consequence. Why so? Why so? Because a laugh is the easiest, wisest answer to all that's queer. And come what will, one comfort's always left. That unfailing comfort is, it is all predestinated. I heard not all his talk was Starbuck, but be sure the old mogul has fixed him. I twigged it, I knew it, and had the gift I might readily have prophesied it, for when I clapped my eye upon his skull, I saw it. Oh, Stub! Oh, wise Stub! That's my title. What of it, Stub? Now here's the carcass. I know not all that may be happening, but be what it will, I will go to it a-laughing. Such a waggish leering lurks in all our horribles. So we'll drink tonight with hearts as light, with love that's gay and fleeting, with bubbles that swim on the beaker's brim that break on the lips while meeting. That is a brave stave, that.
Death to Moby Dick!
I too was one of that crew.
My shouts had gone out with the rest.
My oath had been welded with theirs.
And stronger I shouted.
And more did I hammer and clinch my oath because of the dread in my soul.
A wild,
Mystical.
Sympathetical feeling was in me.
And with greedy ears I learned the history of that murderous monster, against whom I and all others had taken our oaths of violence and revenge.
Ahab's quenchless feud seemed mine.
It was on the last voyage, around the first of the year, heading from the South China Seas toward Australia.
There
she goes! It's a white whale.
Man the boats!
my God, man, will you look at the size of him?
Lower away!
He's got 7 harpoons in his side!
Shove off!
Do you see that mean, wrinkled brow?
Pull, men, put your backs into
Look at
it!
his crooked jaw! I've never seen anything like it!
Brace yourselves!
since that almost fatal encounter.
Ahab had cherished a wild vindictiveness against the whale.
All the more fell for that in his frantic morbidness. He at last came to identify with him not only all his bodily woes,
But all his intellectual and spiritual exasperations.
The white whale swam before him as the incarnation of all those malicious agencies which some deep men feel eating in them.
All that most maddens and torments.
All that stirs up the lees of things.
All truth with malice in it.
all that cracks the sinews and cakes the brain,
All subtle demonisms of life and thought.
all
evil to crazy Ahab.
Were visibly personified.
and made practically assailable in
Moby Dick! December 1st. Whaling to the Pequod encounters white whale in a season on the line. 3 stove boats and the captain loses his leg to Moby Dick.
It was not only this night in particular that in the solitude of his cabin, Ahab thus pondered over his chart.
May 3rd. Whaling to the Bats encounters white whale on the coast. They lower away 3 stove boats.
Every night, the charts were brought out.
And every night, some pencil marks were effaced while others were substituted.
January 4th. Whaling to the Backless Man encounters white whale. They plant 3 harpoons in his side, but the whale escapes.
with the charts of all 4 oceans before him.
Ahab was threading a maze of currents and eddies.
With a view to the more certain accomplishment of that monomaniac thought of his soul.
Moby Dick.
It was about this time that, in due rotation with the other sailors on board, I had my first watch from the masthead. In the serene weather of the tropics, it is exceedingly pleasant, the masthead. Nay, to a dreamy, meditative man, it is delightful. There you stand, 100 feet above the silent decks, strolling along as though the masts were gigantic stilts, while beneath you swim the hugest monsters of the sea. There you stand, lost in the infinite series of the ocean, with nothing ruffled but the waves.
Let me make a clean breast of it here and frankly admit that I kept sorry guard. With the
Gravity
problem of the
train.
universe revolving in my head, how could I be expected with such a
In
thought
fact,
in
That is
general?
valid.
Went off the
That is very
That's
true.
true. I was
There she blows!
Where away?
Oh! 2 points off the starboard bow!
Is it a white whale? Man, it's a white whale!
No, serve just out regular old barrel of oil. Shall we lower away?
Leave it be. If it's not Moby Dick, we do not lower after.
Well, that is interesting, isn't it? You see, normally when the whale is spotted, the captain is very eager to give the order, lower the boats! I'll just do it, okay? Lower the boats!
All right, okay. Each of the boats was about 30 feet long and was manned by a crew of 6.
The harpooner was stationed in the front of the boat.
In the middle were 4 oarsmen.
Only the headsman or boat steerer could see where they were going, since all the oarsmen faced backwards. At this point, it would be lovely to have a boat steerer.
Boat steerer. Low down.
The boat steerer! Yes, yes! The boat steerer! Usually a captain or the first mate stood at the rear of the boat and held the oar about 20 feet long in order to steer the boat! Into the boats! Oars up! And shove off, men! Now row! Row! Break your backs and row! Pull! And pull!
Now, of course, we wouldn't be standing while we were rowing the boats. We would be seated.
Now, this rowing is just brutal work, and it can go on for hours on end. I hope you're ready for that.
Or the whale might die whale could stay submerged for up to 90 minutes. But once depleted, it took the whale a full 15 minutes of rest in order to fill back up with oxygen. This is what allows man to hunt the whale.
There she blows! She blows, men! Break your backs and row! Row for your lives! Row!
Well, any day now, the order would be given to,
Stand up and give it to her!
At which point the harpooner would stop rowing, stand, take the harpoon, which was about so long, and had steel shanks on the end with little barbs, you see, to catch the flesh. Oh, like that. Like that. Thank you.
Attached to the end of the harpoon was an extremely long rope, so that when the harpoon was darted
Oh, shit!
and made fast to the whale, we'd go on what was known as the Nantucket sleigh ride. At this point, the harpooner and the headsman switched places.
Oh, it is
Oh,
absurd.
you have to go all the way back there.
Take the knife out of his
When they were right up on the whale, the call was given to haul her in!
I am covered in spermaceti.
Right up on the whale, they would use a lance!
Yes, I have it right here. Very sharp, very sharp.
They were right up on the whale, a lance was used and thrust into the belly of the whale and churned as if trying to find some gold watch the whale had swallowed. But that gold watch was the innermost life of the fish, and they would stab and churn and dig until black blood shot out of its spout, and there would be black blood all over the water and blood all over the ship, and it would be a gory.
Mr. Starbuck. Mr. Stubb. Lower the boat.
Still it remained to attach a secure line to the whale's tail and haul her back to the ship.
Another brutal stretch of rowing,
Oh, then the butchering of the whale.
Stripping off the blubber.
cutting it up and boiling it down into oil.
Casking it.
Decapitating the whale.
scooping all the spermaceti out of the whale's skull.
Putting that into casks?
Then cleaning up the whole ship.
Yeah, give us 10 minutes. We'll be right back. You can go and get yourself a drink.
Nay. Nay, but 'tis not Moby Dick. The sight of this dead creature breeds only some impatience, some vague dissatisfaction or despair within me.
Ahab, it's time to go.
Shall I not see his scalp like a sheep's ear?
Take off your coat.
May the sight of this one only make me more mad that I am not attained to him. And though I bring 1,000 more whales to my ship, 1,000 more whales, it shall not advance my grand object one jot!